Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. This is our very first podcast at the Fall 25 vCon conference. To keep that straight, Rebecca, thank you for joining me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you were a part of one of the first panels here this morning. We're live in Washington, D.C. with Rebecca Johnson, and the panel was on the issue of the state of fraud. So, before we dive into that, just remind people a little bit about what Numeracle does.
Yeah, thanks. So Rebecca Johnson, founder, CEO of Numeracle. And at Numeracle, we're really focused on helping businesses, universities, hospitals, all types of organizations that want to communicate with its customers. And unfortunately, their calls are being labeled fraud or spam. So very simply, we do a verification of the entity, and then we associate their identity with the telephone numbers that they are using to call and exchange that with the carriers so that in their algorithms, they won't label their calls fraud or spam. And so that's a huge lift and a value add. We actually are getting more into the branded calling and other identity areas, but that's what got us started.
So what is the state of fraud?
So unfortunately, the state of fraud is continuing to increase. And that's not just in the US. That is a global issue, despite the fact that in reports, you'll see that robocalls itself are going down, fraud is going up. And the reason that is occurring is because of the sophistication of the bad actors. They can leverage AI, they can pinpoint and target their victims and be more sophisticated and use less touch points through communications to commit the fraud. So it's unfortunate that it's increasing.
So despite all these mitigation efforts, and they've been pretty elaborate, we actually have a declining situation, not an improving situation.
That's correct. So, there's still gaps in communications. One thing I like to remind people is KYC is a really good tool. It's a process to be able to identify bad actors. This is implemented in banking. Bad actors have money that they want to launder, so they would use banks to be able to launder it. But in order to get those funds, they use communications. That's the channel through which the bad actor can reach into the pocket, into the bank account of the victim and take the money. So why not bring those KYC processes into communications and ensure that if you're going to get access to communications, whether it's voice, messaging, email, social, it should be all channels, that there should be a verification process to ensure that you are who you say you are and what your intention is with that communication channel. Until we get to that point, we're just going to continue to see these channels be exploited because that is a huge vulnerability when you don't have identity. What that identity will do for the consumer is that information should be presented to the consumer so that they can make an informed decision and know with certainty that what is presented is indeed their bank, their school, or their hospital.
Now, are you seeing improvements? Is there hope, at least?
There is. On my predictor scale, absolutely, identity will be adopted, and it will be a form that we can trust. We have this for individuals today. We even have passports that allow us to cross countries, and that's a trusted form of identity. So the concept is not new. What will take time is the adoption of that identity in communication channels. And where the challenge comes in is we have other countries. We have to cross borders. And in the US, we're choosing stir shaken through the passport for the delivery of the identity information. Not every country is going to adopt that. So the challenge for the entire ecosystem is how do we establish a trusted process to issue a verified identity and then deliver it? The world that I see in the future is it's going to be multiple solutions. To be able to do that, at the end of the day, it should be the same presentation to the consumer.
In the panel you were just on, I was amazed at the numbers that people were quoting in terms of the scale of fraud.
Yes.
Give us the number.
I believe it was around like 200 billion. It was in the billions, hundreds of billions. I think it was in a report. I did not see the report yet that the FTC published on Monday. So it's alarming. And it shows that we're not making improvements.
I mean, that's an enormous number.
Yeah.
I off the top of my head, it sounds like it's something like one out of every 150, one out of every $180.
Yeah.
Which is an immense number.
Yes.
You think how much money flows through your pocket, even if you have a modest income. If you divide that by $200 or something,
Yep.
and that's fraud, that's crazy.
Yeah, and we know that those funds are going to nefarious activities.
Yeah.
It is down to human
Mm.
trafficking, sex trafficking, weapons development. So, scarily enough, the U.S. could be funding its own enemies against it.
So this is significant that it's not just someone somewhere stealing some money and then they just use it personally. This is now actually stealing money in an organized way from consumers to be used for maybe military or
Yes.
terror purposes,
Yes.
narco terror, and so on.
Yes.
Wow, that's really interesting. I guess I almost have to ask the same question: Are we turning the tide on this? Because it seems like this has gotten worse.
I would say at current state, if we're looking at results of fraud reducing or increasing, I would say we're failing. With regards to turning the tides on a solution, I am seeing movement and progress. The FCC's notice for proposed rulemaking does address the concept of identity and delivering that to consumers. They also alluded that there will be another proposed rulemaking specific to KYC. So we are seeing, at least on the regulatory side, that we are able to address the gap on identity. Now, what's going to be holding us back is carriers implementing. So we're looking at the channels to implement this technology, and that's where we will see pushback. It's a technology lift. To be honest, there's no financial gain for the carriers to invest resources, time, and effort into solving this problem. So I think that's what's going to hold us back from being able to really make an impact.
Rebecca, I think from like the first time I ever interviewed you, know your customer has been a theme.
Yes.
I think you said that in every interview.
Yes, it's very important. It's again, taking it from the financial industry. You have an entire global effort around KYC for banking. There's no reason why we can't do this on communications, and I've always believed that, and still to this day.
We're at the vCon conference, and of course, this is sort of a somewhat new technology inside the AI. Will this open there? Of course, the theme of the conference is it's going to open up a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
You're also coming and saying we need to look at making sure things are buttoned up.
Yes, I love the concept of AI. We leverage technologies. We're even building some technologies. But I've always felt that AI will usher in the need for identity. And we're already seeing this and hearing this from the AI industry leaders, that there is a fear and concern that we are losing our ability to leverage senses to know what's real and not real. So we will have to have a digital credential associated with identity. It's just going to happen. So with that, then we can actually have AI that we could leverage as opposed to being scared of AI. As long as fraud can continue and we do nothing to curb it, everybody's natural reaction is going to be fear with AI, as they should.
Rebecca, thank you for giving us a brief update on the state of fraud. Need to be aware of this. I think maybe part of your message as you move out today is it's not don't do anything or you need to grab new opportunities. Just be aware of this, right? And
Exactly.
work on it.
Exactly. It's not doomsday, so I'm excited about the future, and I'm excited about the role that Numeracle and our incredible engineers are going to play in that.
Well, let's talk about that as we close up.
All right.
How can Numeracle help?
Yes, so we are focused on businesses to be able to protect their identity and reputation in communications. We also focus on helping UCaaS, CPaaS providers who are delivering and offering these communication solutions to be able to protect their customers' brand and their identity in the network. So we're here to service. We're a technology stack. Happy to help, and you can reach us at numeracle.com.
Rebecca, thank you very much indeed. I'll see you at the next conference
Yes.
in a few weeks. I know I will.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.